Hello and welcome to Charter Local Edition Northwest. I'm Dana Cowley and today we're in Yakima. We're talking to the people about the issues that matter most to you. My guest today is our 15th District Representative Bruce Chandler. He is a Republican in District 1. And Bruce, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you being here.
It's great to be here.
You were happy to get out of the short session on time without a tax increase, and you worked diligently toward some financial progress that you're pleased to tell us about.
Well, I think that both the budget in 2013 and the supplemental to it this past session was a real turning point for the people of the state. We didn't have to increase taxes, and I think it set us on a longer-term path to financial stability that will be really a big help to working families across the state.
So for the 2015 session, what will be your top priorities moving forward?
Well, I'm still responsible for the Republican approach to the budget, and so that will take up a great deal of time. But I also still continue to be engaged in agricultural and natural resource issues, particularly water.
Well, and you have started a healthy discussion in the legislature about the whole issue of water banking. Can you tell our viewers a little bit more about that and how you think our water resources in the future will best be used?
Well, I think that we do have several water banks already operating in the state, and a number of them. Some are private and some are run by local governments, and some, and one or two by the State Department of Ecology. And we're kind of backing into it as because we don't know what else to do, and I do think it's important to have a really thoughtful strategy for making sure that everyone has access to water in the future. And this bill really focuses on Yakima County, but it could be applicable in other parts of the state where the groundwater is not sufficient to meet future growth.
Since that's so important to the life's blood of the agricultural economy around here, can you expand on that? Tell us a little bit more about how it works.
Well, it's not, for us, it's not so much agricultural, because most agricultural water is delivered through districts and through the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation, which is a federal project. And so this is really about people being able to build and have homes in the future. And I think that that's the biggest contribution that we can make with regard to managing groundwater.
Yeah, sometimes economic development and desires to advance conflicts with sometimes the conservative, environmental, cautious approaches, and so this gives us a path forward that serves both needs. Yeah,
well, the Yakima Valley, I think from Cle Elum to Tri-Cities is a place that's going to blossom in the future. It's where people want to raise their families. It's where people increasingly want to retire. I run into people repeatedly who are already commuting between here and Puget Sound. Mm-hmm. They're here for 3 or 4 days a week, and they work over in Puget Sound for 3 or 4 days a week, and they certainly, their plan is to retire here. So I think the future is great, but you have to make sure that you have enough water and enough infrastructure that you can allow them to have a high quality of life, and at the same time take care of our environmental stewardship obligations.
Well, one thing as I was reviewing your website, besides the water and the agricultural issues, is you also were concerned about the governor's suspension of the death penalty during his term in office. Are you going to be working on that this session?
I don't know how much attention, how much traction that issue will get this year. My concern is, first of all, for the families of the victims and how they might feel when essentially, I can understand if they feel that somebody got off at the expense of their family and their family member. And I think that to have an arbitrary blanket policy of never having any capital punishment, I think there's some cases in which it's really the only option, and we shouldn't be so naive as to ignore that.
Well, we only have just about a minute left, but tell us the other things you'd like to accomplish in the upcoming session.
Well, we still are intending to have a budget that doesn't require tax increases. If you've heard the governor lately, we have a lot of conversations. We have to a lot of discussion and negotiation ahead. But the state revenue has increased more than 9%, or will have by the time we get done. And I think that working families would love to have enjoyed a 9% increase over the last few years, and they haven't, and we need to put them first.
All right, Bruce, thank you. We appreciate you being with us on the set and filling us in, and we appreciate you watching. This is Charter Local Edition Northwest. I'm Dana Cowley.